Today, we're going to break down a really important piece of legislation from the Philippines, the Safe Spaces Act. We're going to get into what it is, who it's for, and how it's designed to make every single space feel safe for everyone.
But before we jump into all the legal stuff, let's just stop and think about this for a second. What actually makes a space feel unsafe? It could be a creepy comment on the street, a message online that just won't stop, or a vibe at work or school that just feels off. It's a feeling a lot of us know all too well, and it's exactly what this law is trying to fix. And this right here is the Philippines' big answer to that problem. Republic Act number 111313, but pretty much everyone just calls it the Safe Spaces Act. This is the official game plan for tackling that feeling of being unsafe. So let's dive in and see how it works.
So here's what we're going to cover. We'll start with the basics of the act itself. Then we'll look at three major areas: our public spaces, the online world, and then our workplaces and schools. And to wrap it all up, we'll get into the penalties and responsibilities that really give this law its teeth. All right, let's kick things off. What in the world is the Safe Spaces Act? Let's get right to the heart of what it protects. Okay, so the most important thing to get our heads around is this term right here, gender-based sexual harassment. The law is super clear about this. It's any act aimed at someone because of their sex, their gender, or their sexual orientation. And look how broad it is. It covers everything from catcalling and nasty remarks to things like stalking and online harassment. So with that foundation, let's see how this plays out in the real world. We're going to start with the place most of us think of first, harassment in public spaces. We're talking streets, parks, malls, you name it. And one of the best things about this law is just how specific it is. It doesn't use any vague, confusing language. Nope. It spells out crystal clear what is not okay in public. And just look at this list. It really lays it all out. Section 11 of the Act says things like catcalling, wolf whistling, unwanted invitations, and using ugly, hateful slurs are all out. Even pestering someone for their name or number, and of course, stalking, these are now officially defined as illegal acts. And yeah, breaking these rules, it comes with some serious consequences. Just take a look at the breakdown for something like catcalling. The first time, it's a fine, and you have to attend a 12-hour gender sensitivity seminar. But look at how it ramps up. A second offense could mean jail time. And a third, you're looking at both jail time and a much bigger fine. This law isn't messing around. Okay, so that covers the physical world. But these days, so much of our life happens online. So what about safety behind the screen? Let's jump into the digital world. You bet the law follows us online. Section 12 defines gender-based online sexual harassment as using technology to scare someone or mess with them emotionally. And that includes a ton of stuff: cyberstalking, posting someone's pictures without their permission, making fake profiles, or spreading lies about them. And wow, the penalties for doing this stuff online are no joke. We're talking fines that start at 100,000 pesos and can go all the way up to $500,000. It just goes to show how seriously the law takes the damage that can be done from behind a keyboard. All right, so we've talked about public spaces, we've talked about online, but what about the places we have to be every day, like work and school? The law puts a ton of responsibility on these institutions. And check this out. What's so smart about this law is how it puts the same kind of responsibility on both bosses and school principals. They both have to spread the word about the act, they both have to provide training, and, this is a big one, they both have to set up a special committee to handle any complaints. The responsibility for keeping the environment safe is on them. And it doesn't just say make a committee. No, it gets super specific on how they need to run to make sure they're actually effective. A woman has to be the head. Everyone on it has to be impartial. They have to work fast, get an investigation done, and make a decision in 10 days. And crucially, they have to protect the person who complained from any backlash and keep everything confidential. It's all designed to make people feel safe enough to come forward. And this is huge. It's not enough for a company or a school to just have a policy tucked away in a file cabinet somewhere. If they don't follow through, if they don't act when someone complains, or if they don't even have these systems in place, the institution itself can get in big trouble legally. So that leads us perfectly into our last big topic, penalties and responsibilities. This is all about what makes the law more than just words on paper. It's about making it work. So remember how we said institutions can be held liable? Well, here are the numbers. If employers or schools drop the ball on their duties, they can be fined anywhere from 5,000 to 15,000 pesos.
It's a financial reason for them to take all of this very seriously.
So you might be wondering, who's actually in charge of enforcing all this? Well, it's not just one group. It's a team effort. You've got your local government units, the national police, and even the traffic authorities like the MMDA and LTO for anything that happens on public transport. Everybody has a role to play. Okay, this next part is super practical and really, really important to know. How long do you have to actually report something? Well, it depends on what happened. For smaller things like catcalling, you have 1 year. For something at work or school, it's 5 years. And for really serious stuff like stalking, you have up to 10 years to file a case.
And just for a bit of context, this all became official back on April 17th, 2019. So it's a pretty new law, but it's already making a huge impact.
And really, if you want to understand the heart and soul of this law, just listen to this quote from its own policy section. It's all about making sure everyone has equality, security, and safety, not just at home, but on the streets, online, at work, at school, everywhere. It's about the fundamental right to just exist without fear.
And that's really what it all boils down to, right? Knowing this stuff, knowing your rights, knowing what others are responsible for, that's the first, most powerful step we can take to actually making our spaces safer.
So, I want to leave you with this question. Now that you've got this knowledge, what can you do? In your own life, with your friends, at your job, how can you help turn these ideas into reality and help create safer spaces for absolutely everyone? Thanks for tuning in.